Okay, everyone in Centsless Nation, this is King here with uh, my next chapter of the book. It's Sunday, so like I said, I'll be putting these out every Sunday. So here we go. Chapter 1. Sebastian lay there in silence, enclosed in a world of darkness, thoughts running through the downward spiral of his mind. Thoughts always to the past of what he used to have. With a broken heart, he lay there as a fresh wave of tears ran down his cheeks. He welcomed the dark. It seemed fitting, for there were no bright thoughts in his head, nor did he believe that there would be a bright future for him. Is it day or night? He asked himself out loud. Whether day or night, his tiny apartment remained devoid of any natural light. He hated the sun and the lies that each ray brought with it. Lies of hope, joy, love, and laughter. Sebastian hated all of it. He never used to be this way, so angry and cynical, but that's what lost love does to you. If Sebastian would have seen his reflection of himself months ago, he would not have believed he would turn out this way. He was living a relatively happy life with his 5-year-old son Brody and his wife Eve. They had been high school sweethearts and got married shortly after graduation. Brody was conceived on their wedding night. Sebastian believed he was living a fairy tale, marrying the girl of his dreams, the only girl that he has ever or will ever love, or so he believed. Reality came crushing down on him slowly at first. Having started a family so soon after high school, he never attended college, but went straight to trying to find a stable job. Having only a high school diploma, he was only able to land entry-level factory jobs. Holding on to more traditional values, he tried being the sole provider, leaving Eve at home to care for and raise his son. After a couple years of moving around, and at times sharing a home with a family member, they finally found some stability. It was then that Sebastian's walls of fantasy came crumbling down around him. Having come from a lower middle-class family, Sebastian was accustomed to this type of life. He wanted a better life for his son, as all parents do, but was equipped with the resilience to handle their life. Eve, on the other hand, came from more of an upper-class family. She, having lived in the same house her entire childhood, was not so accepting to this brand of life. Sebastian left work one day, like most other days, eager to get home to his family, driving home with high hopes for the future. He had been at this job now for a time, and things seemed to be getting better for the Hale household. "No more moving!" he exclaimed to himself, hope ringing clearly in his voice. That thought repeating in his head his entire ride home, building strength within him he hadn't felt in the recent years. Confidence. That's what that strength was. So the sweet thought carried on with him on his ride home. "Eve, Brody, I'm home," Sebastian called, walking into his house. Normally he wouldn't need to call out his arrival. Brody usually was on the other side of the door waiting for his dad to walk in. The house was quiet. Thinking they must have walked to the park, Sebastian jumped in the shower to clean off the filth of another workday. His home, still empty after the shower. He tried calling Eve on her cell phone. No answer. Thinking it odd she didn't answer, she always answered. Something felt wrong. Looking around, Sebastian finally noticed that many of Eve and Brody's things were gone. Curious, he began searching through both their dressers. Nothing. All empty. Not even a single unmatched sock. Then he saw it lying on his pillow, a note left behind by his wife. Her wedding ring lay on it. "Sebastian, I can't live like this. I won't allow my child to be raised like this. I say my and not ours, 'cause he is no longer yours. You are no longer his father, and not much of one to begin with. We have left the state. You will never see either of us ever again. Eve." Sebastian felt his hopes and dreams, his very world, come crashing down around him. How? How could she do this? Why would she do this? She said nothing. She gave no hint to her feelings. If only she had said something. "Talk to me." A million questions flooded his thoughts, a million more to follow. He was barely aware of the river of tears flowing from his eyes. Still, Months later, reflecting back to that day, the tears flowed. The pain of it was crushing him to become a shell. His former self was lost to him. Sebastian turned his very home into a dark cave of despair. People passing by could almost feel the intangible dread that was mounting inside that lone apartment. Lost in his ever-deepening sadness, Sebastian stopped going to work. Why should he? It's not like he had anything to work for. His family kept telling him he would heal, that he would feel better, and in time the pain would fade. Lies. All of it lies. Day after day, month after month, his pain only evolved. Sebastian wasn't a man of faith. Never really believed in God. He had his own way of thinking and always considered suicide a cowardly thing to do. That was all before she took his son away from him. He felt he could live without Eve, but not without Brody. Brody was his greatest accomplishment. Gone now, ripped from him by some selfish, heartless bitch. What was the point of going on? Maybe suicide wasn't a coward's way out. Maybe it's courageous to take matters into your own hands. Ending the pain has to be better than living with it. That much despair mounting could do horrible things to a man. Love lost does horrible things to a man. After relieving himself, Sebastian stood gazing into the mirror, seeing the monster he was becoming. The semblance, small though it was, of whom he used to be, was disgusted by what it saw. Staring into the eyes of the person in the mirror, this was no longer the Sebastian neither he nor anyone else would recognize. After long moments of looking into those darkened eyes, Sebastian made his decision. Sebastian parked his car in the gravel parking lot. McMahon's Mill. Sebastian came to this place a lot in his youth. A small grain mill from a time Sebastian believed to be simpler times. He always loved this place, set back from the river, surrounded by the trees and wildlife. As a child, his parents brought him here to swim and walk the towpath. As a teenager, he and his friends would come here to explore the forest, and as most teens do, party. This time, though, he came to this place with a heavy heart. Leaving all the items in his pocket, save his cigarettes and his lighter, and his car. He would not need them anymore. Having decided to end his ill-fated life, he came here, wanted to see some beauty in the world one last time. Sebastian left no note. Who would care if he was gone? He walked for a few hours searching for the cliff he used to party at. When he arrived at his destination, the sun was just about to set. Sebastian timed it perfectly, wanted to watch the sun fall behind the mountains that surrounded him his entire life, to see the sky afire with the colors of a setting sun. He watched the sun sink behind the blue-gray shapes in the distance, his thoughts quiet for the first time in months. He had decided his fate. There was no turning back. He remained firm in his decision. As the tip of the sun fell behind the not-so-distant mountains, arms spread out wide, and so too did Sebastian fall. "I love you, Brody. I am so very sorry," is all he said as he fell, droplets of tears running up his face as the wind brushed past. All went black before he smacked the hard stone. Sebastian felt nothing of his life ending, but what else was there for him to feel now that he was dead? Okay, guys, that was a short chapter this week. It was actually a hard chapter to write and read. Okay, Centsless Nation, but that's it for today, and this is Centsless Gaming. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and then you'll stay notified. King out.